Welcome back, my students. I'm Ellie at English Fun Zone, and today's video is a requested one from one of my YouTube subscribers. We're going to be talking about some vocabulary words and how to use them. So let's get started. Growing up, I had a slew of pets, and slew of means a lot. I had a lot of pets, a slew of pets. I had 2 hamsters. They had 12 babies, or we can call them pups. Baby hamsters are called pups. And they had 12, but only 8 lived. Then I had 2 cats, 5 kittens. I had 2 guinea pigs, 2 hermit crabs, 2 parakeets, 2 goldfish, and 1 little dog named Tinker. And if I could have, I would have had a little frog and a small gardener snake. But that's where the line was drawn. That's a good expression. That's where the line was drawn. That means that I had reached my limit. I wasn't allowed to have a frog or a snake. I had enough pets. The vocabulary words that the student had a question about were raising, rearing, and petting. And this person mentioned a cat and a pigeon. Let's look at the sentences. First, let's take away at my home. You can just say at home. I know it's your home. You don't need to stress my home. Now, you can say at my home if you want to specify it or clarify it. Let's say the situation is, at my home, we have 2 dogs and a cat. Well, at my home, we have 1 dog. So we're stressing my home, but it's not necessary. You don't need to say at my home unless there's some reason you want to stress that it's at your home. That's how you have it, or that's what you have, or that's what you do. Well, at my home, you're stressing it, okay? But here we don't need to say at my home. So we'll take that away. Oh, and don't forget that means 1. So let's put in a pigeon, a cat. So now we have the sentences. We have, I'm rearing a cat at home. I'm petting a cat at home. I'm petting a pigeon at home. I'm rearing a pigeon at home. I'm raising birds and cats at home. Now, grammatically, they're correct, but the meaning, not so much. Let's take a look at the words, rearing, raising, and petting. Rearing means that you feed, take care of the animal, and that you take something from the animal, whether it's milk or eggs. And you could say, I'm rearing chickens. Now, I'm from Michigan, and there are farms where I'm from, but I've never heard anyone say, I'm rearing chickens. We don't use rearing for domestic pets. That's a word, domestic pets. Domestic means these are pets that you keep in your home, like a dog or a cat. So we don't use rearing when we talk about domestic animals. We do hear child rearing, which means the method you use to raise your children, to know right from wrong, for example. You would say something like, I'm raising my child to be independent. I'm raising my child to be kind. When you say raising your child, it means all of the things that you do in order to make your child independent and kind, and whatever it is that you want them to be when they're adults. You can also use the word teach, because you teach your children these things as well. If you're doing the teaching, you can say, I'm teaching my child how to cook. I'm teaching my child how to read. It sounds strange to say, I'm raising my child to read. See what I mean? Raising means everything that you do for your child. But teaching your child can be a specific thing. I'm teaching my child to read. I'm teaching my child to cook. I'm raising my child to be independent. And that's a lot of things that are involved in teaching that independence. But with animals, we say raising when we plan on selling the animal. So if I say I'm raising chickens, it means I'm raising them, and when they're an adult or full grown, I'm going to sell them. And I don't need to say I'm raising chickens at home. It's not necessary. I'm raising chickens. You're going to assume that it's at your home or on a farm. And if you just say I'm raising chickens, that's fine. I understand what you mean. And it goes for all animals that aren't domestic, that aren't in your home, that are on a farm or maybe running free, like free-range chickens. I'm raising cows. I'm raising chickens. This just means that if you're going to sell them, you're raising them to sell. Now for domestic animals like cats or dogs, you say, I have a cat, or I have 2 dogs. But with pigeons, they're not domesticated. Normally, pigeons are kept in a flock. A flock means a group of birds. And pigeons are usually kept in a coop or in a cage. So when you have pigeons, you would say, I keep pigeons. This means you have a group of animals that you have, but you're not going to sell them. They're sort of like your pets. So I keep cows, I keep chickens, I keep pigeons. That means they're your pets, but they're not in your home. So I would understand that if you said I keep pigeons, it would mean that they're kind of like your pets. So to recap, rearing is when you have an animal that you're raising so that you can sell some product or you can sell something that they give you, like eggs or milk. And raising is when you keep the pet for a short amount of time until they're full grown, and then you sell the animal, or it's not really a pet, it would be animals that you keep until they're adults, and then you sell them. That would be raising. I'm raising chickens, and then I'm going to sell them later. I'm raising cows, and then I'm going to sell them later. I'm raising calves. Baby cows are called calves, so you're raising calves. But raising a child, that's everything you do until it's an adult. And teaching is something you do specific. Teaching them to cook, teaching them to read, and so on. So let's look at those sentences. The first one would be, I have a cat, because it's a domestic animal and you're not raising it for anything. It's your cat. I have a cat. And you don't need to say at home, because I would assume that's where you would have your cat. The next one is, I have a cat and a bird. And again, we don't need to say at home. Be careful with that I am having. That's a continuous tense. I am having trouble with math. That's a continuous problem. And when you have something, it's yours to keep, right? I have 2 dogs. They're mine. But I would never say I'm having dogs, because it's not something it's not a continuous action. Now with the word petting, you can say I'm petting my cat, because that's a continuous action. I'm petting my cat. And you would say this maybe if someone called you and you answer the phone and they say, what are you doing? And you say, I'm just sitting here petting my cat. Other sentences are, I enjoy petting my cat. I enjoy petting my bird. You can also say this with a bird, a guinea pig, a hamster, and even a dog. These are my 2 dogs. This is Oso and this is Nunca. And they've been in a few of my videos. I'll post those in the description box below. Next week, I'm going to be talking about sin and crime. And it's another requested video. So make sure you come back again next week. Thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, and all of that other fun stuff. And until next time, my students, please keep practicing. Bye.